Hi Piccolos, this is a practice guide to Grand Canyon Suite, this opening here of the first movement where we have a piccolo solo. It's very difficult, it's a little awkward. I'll play it down once and then I'll go over the trill fingerings I'm using, where I'm breathing, and just other things I'm thinking about in case they're helpful for anyone else. So let's get right to the heart of the matter, that F sharp to G sharp trill, so nasty. What I did just now is regular F sharp, but no pinky. So that's usually a little pretty sharp, but it's a little more stable for trilling. You could do the alternate, the official alternate, which is both of these down, and then trill too. That's fine, but I find that that's a little more awkward when you have to go to the grace note later on. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but for me, some reason. So anyway, or you could just do regular F sharp with pinky down. That works as well. So this one with pinky off, I feel the F sharp speaks a little better. If you're having an issue where as soon as you start trilling, that note just drops, which is the most common thing to happen. That means your air speed is too slow. So it's extra hard because F sharp to G sharp trill, we need extra fast air for it to stay up in the third octave. There's a few ways you can practice this to test or be aware of how fast your air needs to be. One thing I would do is land on your F sharp, and once it comes out, go to the G sharp trill fingering, lifting thumb and first finger, and just hold that and see if you can sustain it. My air is constantly going forward, and then once you get used to that, you could do the same thing, F sharp, G sharp, hold just for a little less, and then start wiggling. But keeping that awareness of how fast your air speed is going while you're trilling. Also on that idea, when you play it, with the B triplets coming before it, I would just say make sure you land on F sharp firmly before you start wiggling, regardless. It doesn't have to be held long, but just make sure you're actually on F sharp. The F sharp has come out of your instrument before you start wiggling, because that F sharp speaking at all can be an issue. And plus it can sound a little musical. So yakada-dakada-dakada-da, like that. And really it's just for safety. The crescendo through the F sharp trill, I wouldn't do too much, but it can grow a little bit if you feel safe and secure on it. Then you can grow through the dotted whole note. Otherwise, just keep it there. Whatever's the safest for the note staying up there. Another thing for the fingerings, or with your pinky, your right hand pinky. So like I said, I have it off for the F sharp, and then I'm trilling, and then I do a quick breath before the grace note. I mean, ideally, I would love to keep the line going all the way through the slur, but I have found from experience, I did this once where I was trilling and then I was on the dotted whole note, and then I thought, I'm not gonna make it, but I had already decided I wasn't gonna breathe, and then it was a disaster. So ever since then, I always breathe after the grace note, unless the conductor insists that you don't. So anyway, I would breathe. And then what I was going to say was, so pinky off for the F sharp is what, if you're doing pinky off for the F sharp, when you breathe for the grace notes, I put the pinky back down. So the E, F sharp, G sharp is more stable. And E, F sharp, I like to do middle F sharp, it's just a little cleaner. And then I go to the alternate G sharp. But you could do regular fingering on the F sharp if you want. But I would definitely do the alternate G sharp, which is high G sharp, just with these extra keys down over here, the middle finger, ring finger, and the pinky. And then when you arrive on that G sharp, it has accent. I wouldn't really accent it, or I wouldn't think of it like that, but you just want to have a sense of arrival. Ya-da-da, ya-da-da, before you start floating down. I would then breathe after that first B natural here for the rest of the way. Then you should be good the rest of the way. When you go from here to the eighth notes, to the triplets, to the 16th, you can really take your time. It shouldn't sound too like mathematically correct, like marching band or something. Dun, 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 take your time, dun, 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 trill. And everything on the last line, it's leading to the trill. And the C sharp trill, or I mean the B to C sharp trill. I am lucky enough to have the C sharp trill key here. So I just get to wiggle that lever key. Otherwise, you got to do, of course, this nasty 1 and first finger. That's not so bad. It feels a lot harder now that I'm used to this. But anyway, after the trill, I would try to play our last B just a tiny bit long. Not long exactly. So you have da-ga-da-da-ga-da-ga-da trill to... And that's it for this movement. The whole rest of the piece is very cool. There's a lot of notes, a lot of third flute with our part, but this opening is the hardest part of the whole piece for us piccolo players. Please hit subscribe if you haven't already. You'll get that notification when I get the next video posted. I do a lot of these practice guides and also a lot of videos just on piccolo in general, alternate fingerings, tone, intonation, all those things that are part of our piccolo world. But thanks for watching this video and happy practicing.